Well, good morning, everyone. It's great to be with you. This is Tuesday and our message of hope. As you know, this week we're doing an Easter journey looking at life and death. Yesterday we looked at death, where is your sting? And we just thought about Jesus who came to break the fear of death so that we could live life to the full. Today I want to look at, are you robbed or surrendered? Is it taken or is it given? And I want to look again at the Easter story and of Jesus as he came to that cross to give his life and some of the intentional choices he had to make that helped him win the victory. And I believe if we will learn from this, they can help us too live with victory in tough seasons and challenging seasons. So I want to ask you, do you feel robbed at this season? Or are you ready to surrender? Let's just turn to the scripture. I want to turn to John chapter 12 and verse 27. John chapter 12, verse 27. And this is Jesus realizing the enormity of the season, the responsibility upon him. And he says, now my heart is troubled. It's interesting. We looked earlier at John 14. Let not your heart be troubled. But here's Jesus feeling troubled. That encourages me that even Jesus at time felt that emotional feeling of being a bit overwhelmed. Anyway, let's read it. John 12 verse 27. And Jesus said, now my heart is troubled. And what shall I say? Father, save me from this hour? No, it was for this very reason, this very cause I come to this hour. So, Father, glorify your name. Jesus is feeling that emotional tug. Do I want to go through? Do I want to walk away? God, I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed, but can I overcome? Oh God, my emotions, my heart is troubled, but God, no, I need to keep focus. Come on, I need to think clearly. What is the reason for this season? What's the cause? No, I must remember, this is the cause. This is a way that I make a path through so that the glory of God can come. I mustn't back out. I must walk through. I wonder if you've had days like that where you just thought, I've had enough. I want to get out. I'm done with all of this. But then you settle down, you think, no, come on, I can do this. And I really believe that we need to understand the principle of we can give our life away, or we can feel that our life is being taken. You see, the outcome might be similar, but what happens on the inside is totally different. And Jesus in this moment of crisis made a decision. I'm going to give my life away. And so he went to the cross. And we read in John chapter 19, just a little bit further on in verse 30, that Jesus went to that cross for this cause. He decided to push through that feeling of being overwhelmed. And in verse 30 we read, and that was, he's now hanging on the cross. His father has forsaken him. And then it says verse 30, and when he received the drink, Jesus said, it is finished. And with that, he bowed his head and he gave up his spirit. You see, Jesus was never murdered. No one could take the life of Jesus. Jesus gave his life up. And I believe that we're going to have many challenges in this season. And Easter is always a time I look in my own life. Am I ready to surrender? Am I ready to give up? Am I holding on to things? Am I feeling robbed or bitter? Or am I going to surrender? You see, we need to put all our desires, the whole of our life, on an altar of sacrifice. Many of us know that scripture in Revelation chapter 12, and it says, for we overcome by the blood of the Lamb. A beautiful picture which we will have a look at most probably on Friday. The blood of the Lamb, the Easter story. And we overcome by the word of our testimony. And we looked at that last weekend on Palm Sunday for the thing of praise. We overcome when we use our mouth in the right way. But there's a third way we overcome. And that is by the heart of sacrifice. We do not love our lives or hold back our lives from death. And you see, if we will sacrifice, if we will give rather than feel we're being taken from, it has great power in the spiritual realm. For Gordon and I at this time, it's quite hard. I had so many things planned for my calendar. Nicola, our daughter, who lives in Australia, was planning to come at the end of April for Gordon's birthday. And I felt a bit robbed when Corona's happened, and I felt God challenged me, come on Rachel, you can either get bitter or you can give it up. Give it as a sacrifice. Helen and I and the Heart Cry team, we were due to go to America. And I was so excited about some of the conferences we were doing, and especially to join Craig and Moni Lots of Victory Faith Fellowship in Spokane and do the East Coast and going to Harvard and Yale and into Boston and Philadelphia, and to really pray for America at this time. And I had such a sense of, I don't know, expectancy for that time. So I felt disappointed. And then of course Easter. I planned Easter back at Christmas time, bought some bedding and everything, expecting my grandkids to come, and we always do roast lamb and a lovely time. None of those things are going to happen. And I began to get a little bit introspective and think, oh, it's not fair. Everything's being taken away. And I felt God say, no, Rachel, make a choice. You can feel robbed or you can surrender. You can feel taken from or you can give up your life. And so I believe, just as we think about Jesus giving up his life for us this week, we need to willingly give up our life, give up our rights, and put even the things that are good on that altar of sacrifice and say, God, in this season I trust you. I'm not going to fight for my rights. I'm going to lean in and trust you. And as I was praying this through, God reminded me of that scripture in Ecclesiastes chapter 11 verse 1. And it says, cast your bread upon the water, and in a few days it will return to you. And just as Jesus gave his life up on that cross, it returned to him in resurrection life. And maybe if we will just let go and sacrificially say, okay, God, I give you that time with Nicola and I trust you to return it to me. God, I give you even this Easter time with the family, which I'd so planned and prepared in my heart, and I can't have my grandkids and that, but I give it to you. God, I give you those holidays I planned, give you those trips, that ministry, things that I really had an expectation for. God, I give them to you. Cast your bread upon the water and then have an expectation, and we'll come back to you. Let me pray with you. So Father, today we come to you and we want to be honest. At times it's hard. And just like Jesus, now my heart is troubled. There are things that emotionally feel hard. But God, we want to see the greater cause. We want to see the greater glory. And so Father, I pray that in this season, as we have to let go of things, that we won't feel bitter or robbed, but we'll be able to be generous in giving. And we give you those expectations, those longings, those hopes, those disappointments. And we put it on that altar of sacrifice. And we ask you in this Easter week, you will teach us to give up our lives. Even those things that legitimately should be ours, we give them to you. And we ask you, Father, to bring peace. And we trust you as we cast our bread on the water. It will return to us. And we will see the blessing of God. We love you, Jesus. And everyone said, amen. Well, have a great day today. God really loves you.